Welcome to the NWR Aussie Resources Conference. Next up, we have Tim Markwell. He's Managing Director of Falcon Metals. ASX code is FAL. Now, Falcon Metals holds over 5,000 square metres in the Bendigo Zone of Victoria. They've had some stunning results coming out of there. Tim, great to see you.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Carrie, and thanks to NWR for the invitation to present at the Aussie Explorers Conference. For those of you who aren't familiar with Falcon Metals, we formed in December 2021 via an IPO with the demerger from Chalice Mining. So Chalice Mining discovered the spectacular Julimar ore body in WA in March of 2020. But prior to that discovery, their flagship asset was the Pyramid Hill Gold Project in Victoria. So they made this pretty sensible decision that after that spectacular success they had at Julimar, that the best thing they could do was to spin out or demerge Pyramid Hill, give it a Victorian-focused management team with its own capital to deploy with a few other assets and set it free, so to speak. So we listed in December 2021 and we raised $30 million. So before I start, just behind that screen, the image on the screen there is some gold that we panned from some drill results we put out in July. So that's an air core hole at our Ironbark East deposit. So obviously a pretty good result we got from that hole, given the gold in the pan there. So I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. There's our normal disclaimer. So the projects that Falcon has, so obviously the flagship asset is the Pyramid Hill Gold Project. And as Carrie said, it's more than 5,000 square kilometres of ground in and around the Bendigo Zone. It's a truly spectacular gold region with more than 60 million ounces of production since the 1850s. Obviously, it's famous high grade. We did put out some good results at Ironbark East a few months ago, which I'll talk about in a minute. And because of that, we've got a pretty major drill program starting up within 1 to 2 months. We've also got 2 WA projects, so it's good to have a bit of diversity in the portfolio. So we've got the Viking Gold Project in WA, which we're drilling at the end of this month. So it's great to have some more drilling underway, especially in WA. And we've also got the Mount Jackson Gold Project north of Southern Cross.
Sorry, Tim, to interrupt you. Did those 2 projects in WA, because the spin-off originally was just the Pyramid Hill Project in Victoria, when were the Viking and Mount Jackson added?
They were both from Chalice as well, actually. So they came with the demerger. So I think Chalice put together not only Pyramid Hill, but a couple of other gold projects that they thought would sort of balance out the portfolio. So we've got all of those as a part of the demerger. Okay, great. Thank you. No worries. So just a quick corporate snapshot. So our shareholder base, it does still reflect Chalice in many ways as it was a demerger. So Tim Goyder is our largest shareholder with 7.9%. Franklin Templeton 7.1%, and they've topped up a bit since we IPO'd, and Goldman Sachs have been accumulating on market ever since we listed. The share price is just under 20 cents. That gives us a market cap of just under 35 million, and with 25 million in cash at the end of June, an EV of less than 10 million. I think we're a pretty spectacular value at the moment, especially given the intrinsic value of our ground holding, especially in Bendigo. So the board, great board. Part of the reason I joined Falcon was because of the board. The opportunity to work with Mark Bennett, who's had a fantastic career with several major discoveries, including Nova Bollinger, which was taken over, bought by IGO and a few years ago now for nearly $2 billion. So it's great to have Mark involved, especially given he is also based in Melbourne. So he can have some real value add by being come in and help as required. And also Alex Dorsch, who's the MD of Chalice, and he was the MD when Chalice discovered Julimar. But importantly for us, he was the guy that put together the Pyramid Hill project to begin with. So he's obviously got great passion for Pyramid Hill, and it's great to have Alex's continued involvement with that and with Falcon as well. And just rounding out the executive team with myself, we've got Pradeep, who's a very experienced company CFO, and Doug Windsor, who's a Bendigo born and bred geologist. He's had a great career with the likes of BHP and De Beers. And he spent nearly the last 10 years with IGO in the Kimberley and northern WA running their exploration up there. But he's now back in Bendigo and keen to find the next big ore body in Victoria along with the rest of us. So it's great to have Doug involved in the team as well. So moving on to Pyramid Hill, that's Phil May now, the project geologist for Pyramid Hill. He's logging some core out at our Serpentine exploration camp, and that's just a few kilometres from our Ironbark project. So the opportunity with Falcon, I mean, this picture really says it all. So that's a map of the Bendigo Zone with some tenements on it. That red line that runs through the middle there is really the key part of our strategy. That red line represents the boundary between the Castlemaine group stratigraphy below that red line, which is outcropping, and that's the stratigraphy that hosts Bendigo, 22 million ounces, Fosterville nearly 9 million ounces and growing, and as everyone knows, Fosterville is now a spectacular gold mine, one of the highest and most profitable gold mines anywhere in the world. So that's everything that's below that red line, which is outcropping, but above that red line, the same geology goes under some Murray Basin cover. So that's really shielded that ground with the same prospectivity from the discovery that's happened over the last 100 or so years. So that's where the opportunity is, in this underexplored ground to the north of that red line, which, as you can see on that map, we hold the lion's share of it. We've got a very big part of that stratigraphy. So, I mean, the government's done some studies here in Victoria, and their work shows that it could be up to 32 million ounces of undiscovered gold north of that red line, which is obviously a very big number and a very big prize. And I think, given we've got the biggest part of that ground, we've got the best chance of really finding something. And our permits cover hundreds of kilometres of strike extent of prospective structures, which you can see running up through the middle there. So we do have a very prospective ground holding north of that Bendigo area that really just hasn't been properly explored because of that cover, which can be quite thin in places. So most of this talk we'll focus on Ironbark here in the middle, and then Carrie a little bit to the north of that, and then Wandoo down here, and you'll see how close Wandoo is to Bendigo, and that's quite exciting, we think, because it is only 20 kilometres west of Bendigo, and it's under that cover there, which is quite thin, and because of that, it hasn't really been looked at properly, and that's where we think the opportunity is with Falcon Metals. So moving on to Ironbark, now previous work here had indicated that the most prospective area was really at this contact between the Castlemaine group sediments and intrusive diorites, and diorites are actually quite a good thing in Victoria. There's quite some good history of mining of diorite hosted ore bodies in Victoria, especially in the Valhalla goldfield. And the one we like to talk about is the Cohen's Reef deposit, which was 1.5 million ounces at 32 grams. So that's obviously a very nice ore body, and it'd be great to discover one of those. The initial focus was at Ironbark North and South, and they're just to the west of that map there. And we did intersect primary mineralisation in the diorite, which was great. But it wasn't really until 2021 that it really started to show its potential. And when I was doing the IPO talks back in October, November last year, I'd like to speak about Ironbark really jumping up the leaderboard from the results we got last year. So we hit 13 metres at 1.5 and 9 metres at 0.9, and these were from air core holes, so early stage reconnaissance drilling, so wide space, and we're looking for PPB hits, and we were hitting sort of 1.5 grams in a hole that ended in mineralisation. So that's obviously that exceeded our expectations. So we got quite excited. So when we listed as Falcon, the first target for our air core drilling was in and around these Ironbark, that Ironbark East area, and that's what we have on the screen there. So that's some of our infill drilling that's filled that in a little bit, and you can see some quite nice numbers there. But it's probably best that I look at those in cross section to really show you the detail. So air core hole 1030 returned 40 metres at 2.8 grams from 50 metres depth, and that included 26 metres at 4.2 grams. 2 metres at 15, 1 metre at 17, etc. You can see multiple 10-gram hits down the hole there. That's obviously a very good result, and we were able to pan some very nice coarse gold from that first metre of that intercept, which is obviously a nice cover page for a presentation. Now, the top part of that intercept did include 2 metres of quartz gravel, and that had this coarse and nuggety gold in it. Now, there is some potential for some smearing down hole because of that coarse gold in gravel, but there's two important things to note about Ironbark East and this drill hole. One is that there's evidence of primary mineralisation in the diorite below that interval, and we have seen that in other drill holes at Ironbark East, and also the coarse angular nature of that alluvial gold makes us think that the source of that gold is very, very close to where this drilling occurred. So we think we could very well be onto something here. We do have to do more drilling. And quite naturally, when you get results like this, you're gonna drill around it. So as soon as we get active in 1 to 2 months' time in the Pyramid Hill project area, we will be doing infill drilling in and around this hole to see if we can find, where the sweet spot is of what's caused all this gold. Because you can see there's quite a few intercepts now on this simple section.
Yeah, so Tim, are you going to be sort of looking, do you try and work out where the source of the gold is coming from? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, we are. So that's right. So clearly there is primary mineralisation in that hole, but this is air core drilling, and there's still some gaps that we still need to look at. So we've really got to fill in the gaps with the air core, and we need to do that for when for targeting with our diamond drill holes. We want to make sure we do our diamond drill holes in the right place. We did do one diamond drill hole, which you can see on that cross section. We did that while we had a rig in the area a few months ago. And now the important thing about that diamond drill hole there is that was drilled before we got the results from that hole 1030. So really, this was just a site while we had the rig there, just to make sure we could take a look at the diorite and get ready for next drill season. And then, of course, we got this fantastic result from 1030. And what that has shown us, Carrie, is that we probably should be targeting that eastern contact here of the diorite and the Castlemaine sediment. So we'll be focusing our air core in and around there, and really looking to see where this high grade mineralisation has come from, and where, as I said, where this sweet spot is. So this will be obviously a high priority target for our drilling, and that should be underway in the next 1 to 2 months.
Oh, excellent.
So moving on to the Carrie Prospect. So this is a little bit to the north of Ironbark, and this is where we did. We've done a couple of seasons of drilling here now. Now the important points about Carrie is it's a very large footprint. So as you can see there, that's a 4 kilometre long footprint, and it's defined by air core drilling. So anomalous values in air core drilling. So it's a big footprint now. It's got coincident arsenic and gold, so it's showing the right signs. And we did do some diamond drilling last year that returned some excellent results. We got a hit of 5 metres at 14, including 2 metres at 32, which is obviously a pretty good number. We did some more drilling there just after we listed. We saw some strengthening of the alteration of mineralisation just in that central part of Carrie. So we're certainly getting some encouragement, but we really need to. I think we really need to do some more air core drilling here to really help target that diamond drilling and see if we can find the sweet spot at Carrie as well. So really, this is a big footprint. What we like, that's what we like about it, and to get a big footprint like that, just to put it into context, like a Fosterville Gold Mine will have has something like a 4 kilometre footprint around it. So that's why we're very keen to keep working at Carrie and see if we can find out where the high grade is at Carrie as well. And while I'm talking about Carrie, as I said, we've drilled here for a couple of seasons now. We're starting to get some good results, especially from last year's drilling. And so what we decided to do was use Carrie as like a test case to benchmark our exploration moving forward, because we do have a lot of ground and we've got a lot of targets to work through. So what we did was we got our Carrie drill database. We stripped out everything but the first pass drilling when we first drilled Carrie. And the idea is to look at what initially drew us to do further drilling at Carrie, and then what led to getting some quite good hits like 5 metres at 14 grams. So that's what we did. So that top cross section there is the Carrie, the first pass drilling we did at Carrie, and that was back in January 2019. And of those 20 holes that we drilled, 3 holes had greater than 25 ppb, and 1 hole had greater than 100. So look, it's not headline stuff, but to us back in 2019, that was considered significant. So we went back and did more infill drilling at Carrie, and then turned into this very large footprint, which has produced some quite good results. So that was how Carrie was discovered and what led us to Carrie. So using that top cross section as a benchmark, we went and looked at all the other projects where we'd done similar sort of levels of first pass reconnaissance drilling, and the one that really stood out was the Wandoo prospect. So we drilled that in January 2021. We did 24 holes, very wide space reconnaissance drilling, just targeting gravity highs and structures that we could see through the cover. And of those 24 holes that we drilled, 15 had greater than 25 ppb and 8 greater than 100. And you can see in that second bottom section there that it's almost an order of magnitude better at this early stage than what Carrie was. So this clearly elevates Wandoo as a high priority target for us. And especially given, as I said earlier, this is only 20 kilometres west of Bendigo. So this is very close to Bendigo and very close to where 22 million ounces came out. And there's every reason for us to drill this as soon as possible once the drill season starts. So this will be another.
That was going to be my question to you, Tim. When does the drill season start? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, If you want to ask Tim a question at the end of the presentation, please pop a question into the Q&A box at the bottom there, and I will endeavour to get to them all. But Tim, just quickly, when does the drill season start for Wandoo?
Yeah, good question, Carrie. So it really does depend on the weather. We're drilling. These are mostly located in broadacre farms north of Bendigo, so we need the ground to dry out a bit. So as soon as that happens, which it can be October, it can be early November. It's been a little bit wet in recent weeks, so it really is a matter of when the ground dries out. So we've got the rig ready, we've got the team ready, we're gearing up. So as soon as we can get access, and the farmers are happy to let us onto their paddocks, given we do have access agreements to all this ground that we want to drill, we'll be on there as soon as we can. So I would expect sometime in October or November if it's too wet. And just touching on another prospect that's come up in the last few months that's perked our interest, I guess. Neurology is a beautiful thing, and Catalyst Metals announced a nice air core hit just to the north of our tenement boundary. You can see Carrie there at the bottom of the screen. They got 3 meters at 18 grams, and this was from a reconnaissance air core hole, so very wide space, sort of testing ideas, sort of drilling. And they got this very nice result. So that's really just the other side of our tenement boundary, and you can see those structures that go up to it from our tenement. So this has obviously elevated that permit to a higher priority, and we haven't drilled that 6864 permit yet. So that will be obviously one of our targets when we start the drill rigs going in 1 to 2 months' time. And hopefully we can return the favour to Catalyst and find some things on our side of the fence as well. But just hope the ore body's bigger on our side.
I love it. No, not being competitive at all there, Tim.
No, everyone wins, Kerry. Everyone wins. So the next steps at Pyramid Hill, I think I've gone through it here. Infill drilling, Ironbark, obviously, Carrie, Wandoo, and the project called Banksia. And you can see those there on the map where we'll do our infill drilling. Now, with our regional exploration, we do have a big permit holding. So we have to be quite tactical here with how we tackle this. We are going to do a very large drill out starting in October, November, and that will be going on into next year, probably till about May. So it'll be a significant drill out. We'll be targeting the Castlemaine Group stratigraphy, which is the rocks that host Bendigo, Fosterville, etc. And with that, we'll be doing soil sampling on those yellow areas you can see in that map. So that's areas of shallow, either outcropping or shallow cover. And we'll be doing reconnaissance air core drilling over all those areas that are orange. So that's areas that we consider prospective that have between 20 and 120 meters of cover. So we'll be doing quite a significant regional drill out across the Pyramid Hill project. And importantly, those permits that I was just pointing to, just sort of around south of Ironbark there, they've only been granted since we listed. So this has not been explored by us yet. So this will be the first time we've had access to this ground and been able to do work on it. So it's going to be quite exciting to be generating more prospects in this area. And we'll also be doing, so obviously with the success at Ironbark, we'll be looking for more diorites. So we'll be using air mag to see if we can find some more of these structures or these intrusions that we can drill. And we'll be screening those with air core drilling. So it's going to be a very active drill program starting up from October, November. And as I said, continuing well into 2023. So there'll be quite a significant news flow happening well into next year. So just touching on our WA projects, we put out an update this morning on one of them, which is the Viking Project. This is located 30 kilometres east-southeast of Norseman. You can see it there. That's tenement 1963. This is in the Albany-Fraser province, which is a wonderful location to have projects. Tropicana is a very major gold project now that Anglo Gold Ashanti are mining, and obviously the Nova Bollinger nickel deposit that Mark Bennett helped discover. Now we've got this joint venture with Metalhawk. We are earning into this project. As I said, this was a former Chalice joint venture that we got via the demerger. So we're running up to 70% by funding expenditure on that 1963 permit. So it's probably just to look at it in this slide. So there it is, zeroed in on the best parts of it. So Viking was essentially discovered by Anglo Gold. After they discovered Tropicana, they went looking around for more, and they got some very nice auger results at Viking. You can see those there. There's Beaker 1 to 4 here. You can see there's some very nice numbers. They also did some air core drilling and quite a lot of air core drilling, but they only did very limited RC and diamond underneath it. And that's really where the opportunity for Falcon is here. And You can see those numbers there, and I'll show you on the cross section why we think it's a really good target. So this is a cross section. There's some RC and some air core holes there, and what you'll notice is that they really only are targeting the oxide zone of this Beaker 2 prospect. So there's numbers like 5 meters at 44 and 4 meters at 15 grams. So very, very nice hits, but there's no drilling underneath it, and it's really quite amazing that this hasn't been drilled before. So we will be drilling this at the end of this month. So we expect to have the rig going here at Viking at the end of September. So it's everything's in place, and it's just a matter of getting on the ground there. But we are targeting drilling here end of September, and it'll probably be a two-week drill program from what we see at the moment, and really is just drilling under these very obvious high-grade oxide zones. So it's a very nice walk-up proposition for us to work on, and it's good to have some activity outside of Victoria. It's good to have a bit of diversity.
Yeah, and I assume that you plan on earning into the 70%, do you, Tim, by spending the 1.75?
Yeah, so there's two stages. So first we have to spend $1 million, and we'll be well into that at the end of this first drill program. And if we like what we see, then we'll obviously keep going to that second stage and getting to that 70%. But it'll be very much result dependent. I mean, we're quite hopeful that with this level of oxide mineralization, that there's something pretty interesting at depth. It doesn't usually just sit there on its own. So we certainly are thinking, Carrie, that we will be able to take it to that next level. And rounding out the portfolio, we have the Mount Jackson project. Now, this is north of Southern Cross in the Southern Cross Greenstone Belt. So this is 100% Falcon. And what's good about this one is it's an undrilled greenstone belt in Southern Cross, which is a pretty good gold province in itself. Marvel Lock and Yilgarn Star and other gold deposits. It's known to host major gold deposits. This has never been looked at before properly, so this has never been drilled. So there's a coincident gold arsenic and antimony soil anomaly here, which is you can see it there. It stands out, and we'll be doing more infill soil sampling here. We really want to refine the target better before we get the air core rig in, and once we sort of do that infill air core. Infill soil sampling, we'll get in there and look at it, look what's underneath the soil. So it's certainly this one could be anything. It's great to have these sort of blue sky projects in your portfolio that are really quite straightforward exploration propositions, and especially undrilled greenstone belt in WA, a bit of a rare thing now.
Absolutely.
So really that's the Falcon story. So we've got a great team. We've got a track record of success on our team, very strategic and large land holding in Bendigo that you couldn't replicate now if you wanted to. It's very highly sought after ground, and I think that's really a prize asset of Falcon in one of the best gold regions in the world. And we're going to be doing a major drill out. This is going to be a significant drill program starting in Victoria shortly. Plus we've got the added bonus of being able to work in WA within the next 1 to 2 weeks. At Vikings, and with follow-up work to come at Mount Jackson. So great proposition there. And importantly, and one of the key assets of Falcon is its cash. We have 25 million cash at the end of June. That's a very nice cash balance to really hit this hard. It does mean that if we do find something, if we do latch onto something at Ironbark, Carrie, Wandoo, or WA, we can set up step up our activity straight away. We don't have to go back to the market and raise money. We can just get more rigs and get working, and that's the benefit of having a strong balance sheet. So thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Tim. Absolutely excellent. If you want to ask him a question, you've got 1 minute to ask Tim a question directly because we are running out of time. So I want to just ask about Mount Jackson. You said drilling later. Is that going to be this year?
We'd certainly love to think we could drill this year, but we do have to do this soil program and we do have to get the results and analyse them. So if we don't do it this year, we'll certainly be doing it as soon as we can into 2023. So it will be quite a significant soil sampling program. There's a bit to do there. So, but yeah, I would like to think we could, but I think it's probably more likely we'll be doing this in 2023.
Okay, Victoria, WA, love them both. But Victoria kind of tweaked my interest just because of the land holding that you've got and where you've got it. In terms of priorities and I guess funding, is it going to be a 50-50 between WA and Victoria, or is Victoria the favourite child at the moment?
Just because of the size of the land holding, Victoria certainly is the flagship asset. We have to, we've got a lot of targets to drill there, and we can see a lot of value add if we latch onto something in Victoria. It's going to be a massive thing for us, I think, and it really will set us apart. And you know, when you find something in Victoria, it tends to be very high grade, and I think everyone will focus in on us. So I think that's really where it is. So I think it would be something like a 70-30% or 80-20% split between Victoria and WA. And I mean that might change if we discover something in Victoria, it'll go up even more. But if Viking really or Mount Jackson, you know, look interesting and we get good result, then maybe it'll come back a bit. But you know, we'll be quite balanced there, quite strategic on what we do.
Tim, I wish we had more time. I've got so many more questions, but you know what? What a great project, great team that you've got together. Mark Bennett, he's done it before, hasn't he? And Tim, you've come from Lion Selection Group. You've seen lots of projects. This is one that's pretty much exciting you. Thanks so much for joining us at the NWR Aussie Resources Conference today.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. Thanks very much.